I'm Janet Elber, Artistic Director of the Martha Graham Dance Company, and we are delighted to have formed this collaboration with Diana Vishnёva. Martha Graham choreographed Errand into the Maze in 1947. It has a commissioned score that was written for her by Giancarlo Manati. It has a beautiful modern sculpture on stage created by the Japanese-American sculptor Isamu Noguchi. And this collaboration between Graham, Noguchi, Manati, and the lighting designer Jean Rosenthal brings a setting that is a masterpiece of 20th century art. Martha Graham took a Greek myth, the legend of Theseus, who traveled into the maze to fight the monster Minotaur. Now, Martha Graham, of course, sends a woman on this journey. The woman who goes into the maze to fight the creature, it may be a metaphor, it may be in her own mind and a battle with her own fears. It was in America, I think in the world, the psychological themes were very important. And you can see it in movies, in magazines, and literature. And Martha Graham was taking this idea of the individual and the individual psyche onto the stage. It's a very psychological dance. Or you can also look at it as a young woman battling a creature. The duet has the creature of fear on stage with her. Became a signature role of Martha Graham, and the theme of conquering your own fears is very boldly told in this beautiful ballet. It's a very courageous on Diana's part, I think, to take on a ballet by Martha Graham. The style is so very different than the training of a ballerina. And yet I knew when she came to us with this idea that it would be a beautiful combination. And I knew this because the essence of Martha Graham is that her movement is a combination of emotion and physicality. It's surprising, I think, that the Martha Graham Dance Company has never been to Russia, and perhaps her physical style is a bit foreign to Russian audiences. She created her style in a revolution in America in the late 1920s and the early 1930s, where she was stripping away the decorative dancing of the day with the smokes and the floating veils and trying to get down to the essence of human emotion. She wanted to find a style of dancing that would reveal our heart and what we were thinking, what we were feeling.
For me, it was very clear when I met Diana for the first time what, as a human being, sometimes we are very close in our world, so we don't have so much knowledge. We are working. So I knew that she was interested to do art choreography. So she came to Holland, and from the first time I saw her, not knowing her incredible technique or her as an artist, I saw the human being. And for me, you can see it immediately when a human being like her, like Diana, becomes the artist. And so I saw immediately she could be perfect for Subject to Change, and because she has this a lot of work in herself, and the human being is so beautiful and vulnerable at the same time. She's strong, but she's vulnerable. So I got very inspired. And of course, I say, yes, we say, yes, absolutely, we need to work.
I think what's been very, very beautiful about this experience is it's like we're of the same family somehow, but we're different cousins, or, you know, she's coming from a very strict classical training, but she's also been opening herself artistically to a lot of things. It's like learning a new language. She speaks lots of languages, but ours is another language, and I think that to work with her on it has been so beautiful to see her get inspired and then frustrated and then dramatic and then realizing that she can do these things.
Well, it's a very, very special ballet because the circumstances. We started to create this piece. We put the carpet. We have 4 boys. We have the music of Schubert, Death and the Maiden. And then it was something in our lives happening for real. At the same time, we were doing the steps. So the ballet is like a record of that circumstances. And the story is like a dear friend that was taking care of my child, of our child, got brain damage, aneurysm. So it took her for a month to go really bad, until she really gets in a coma. She didn't die. So that came the title of the ballet is Subject to Change. And then when we finish the ballet and we have to perform, we didn't know what was going to happen. So that's why we leave it open.
I think what was very special about it was a lot of our ballets before have been quite abstract. And because we were so emotionally involved in these circumstances, we made the piece about it. So it's not really a story like in classical ballets, but there is a story of emotionality. And it's the emotions that we were all going through and what she went through. And this idea of death being also something beautiful that comes to us. Schubert was very inspired by the poet Schiller, and he said that, you know, the death talks to him and says, I'm not evil, I'm like your brother, I'm like your lover, I'm your friend, and I'm going to take you to a beautiful place. So for us it was also looking at death, trying to see it as a transition, and that's why we called it Subject to Change. It's this idea of transition. It's not just about life and death, it's about going to different places. And it was very, very emotional for us, of course, because we were there, but the ballet still carries that, and the message is very strong. Even if you don't really know the story, you can feel the emotions of it. So it's been a beautiful, beautiful ballet for us.
Well, of course, I knew Diana Vishnёva from a reputation because she had won several competitions, and I knew about her. I got really to work with her and know her when I worked at Mariinsky. And I started, I did 3 ballets there. 2 of them I had already done before, so I was quite sure about what I was doing. And I realized that in the first 2, which had already been created before, that this wonderful dancer was able to change character very much. So when I made the creation, which was to the viola concert of Alfred Schnittke, which was called The Sound of Empty Pages, Diana was part of this creation. And I felt that in those days, in those weeks, in those months really, in St. Petersburg, that I got to get quite deep and quite close into working with her. I think, first of all, obviously, to be a very good dancer, you have to have a particular level of technique, because the technique is what makes you free. And I think this is the case with Diana, that she has this technical freedom which makes her able and makes her, I think, have the courage to try to do very different things which you would not expect her to do, and be able to transform herself according to the role that she's doing. And I think this is the most important aspect, is that the dancer, I believe, the great dancer, doesn't give us a kind of personality show of this is me, this is how I am, and I will show how is Diana Vishnёva being Juliet, how is Diana Vishnёva dancing Martha Graham, but a complete absorbing into a new style, which is the really important thing, that I have the humility and I have the wish and ability to let myself become something else, to let loose of myself. Yeah, okay, we'll have a little break, not a half-hour break, short break, little short break. The last important project was The Lady of the Camellias with American Ballet Theatre, where we worked through the role very intensely, and I was extremely impressed that she gave also a very different interpretation of the role, extremely, in a sense, kind of youthfully abandoned interpretation of the role, which was deeply moving for me. And of course, since we worked in St. Petersburg, I think there's always been the wish to do something new, to create something together. And I think that this is what the ballet really is. In this ballet, which is called Chopin Dialogue, it is dialogue between two persons, a man and a woman. The woman is Diana Vishnёva, the man is Thiago Bordin. When we started, the first thing Diana said is, "What is the story?" I said, "I don't know. You are the story. We must make the story together," because I think in creation means to have something which never was there before. This can mean I do a lot of complicated steps, and they were never there before. This particular combination of steps was never there before. That's one thing. The other thing is the emotional climate within a piece. This is very dependent on what we would call the chemistry between two people. How do they react? Do they have some feeling? Do they have the courage to be ugly? Do they have the courage or ability to even be aggressive towards each other? Because the more that I can see in the variations of color between the two people, the more inspired I can become, the more I can lead them, the more I can guide them, the more I'm inspired also to find a new direction, to find a new direction for this piece. What is this dialogue? I don't know. For me, to create, it is an adventure where you don't know the ending, you don't know the goal. The journey there is the most important. That's it. That's okay, good. Thank you very much. Very good. They were very good. Thanks. It's very good. I like it very much. And you found many new things also. I saw you had many new